this book. I did not tell the medium what was going on. I didn't tell the medium to try to reach for anything in this kind of department. He just said it to her and threw her to me. And it was a moment I'll never forget. And it gave me so much courage that no matter what is said, I know I'm doing the right thing for the right reason. And it was both beautiful and scary, having someone speak him and his words to me directly. And it was completely unexpected. And it was just something that I needed at that moment. And I think he knew I needed that. And so he came in again into my life and gave me the encouragement and the right and the, not even permission, but just that he saw what I was doing and believed in it as well.
Yo, what's up, everybody? It's your boy, Brain Wade. This is part two to the interview that I did yesterday regarding the whole Allison Holker situation. And this interview is based upon her book that she just released. In this interview, she talked about contacting a psychic medium. That's right. She said that when she contacted this psychic medium, Stephen Twitch boss spoke to her. Now, there's more to this particular story. I want to go into this further and I want to break this down further because if you haven't watched my part one that I did yesterday, it will explain why I'm going deeper in this particular area. You see, Allison Holker just simply cannot be trusted at this point. And for those of you that don't know, I have an extensive background when it comes to understanding all of these things. I used to be a medium myself. I used to be a psychic myself. I have renounced those things. I have repented of those things both privately as well as publicly. I have a video up on my YouTube channel where I had made that known years ago. I have also done calls to repentance for tarot readers and astrologers and other mediums and people out there that's in that quote unquote new age and that spiritual practice. I say that because if anyone's familiar with what you're communicating with or who you're communicating on the other side, it's me. And for Allison Holker to be taking this path and seeking these things, she is clearly deceived. She believes that it's Stephen Twitch boss talking to her. But what it is that it is a demon that is very familiar with the situation, that is waiting for a door to be opened. And so Allison Holker opened that door by consulting this medium. And the Bible talks a lot about it. I'm not going to get into the scriptures. Many of you should already know the scriptures by now. A lot of you are familiar with Deuteronomy. You're familiar with all types of scriptures in the Bible. With this being said, because Allison Holker's taking this route, she can't be trusted. And we're going to listen to some other things that she claims that Stephen Twitch boss told her as soon as we come back in just a second. Man, oh man, oh man, oh man, oh man. Like this whole situation is absolutely crazy. Okay. This whole situation is absolutely crazy. And what I want to do is do a recap of what we listened to yesterday because I think that you all need to hear just this part right here. And once we go into that part, we're going to get into what she said. Because again, when you hear all these things, there's no way you can trust her entire narrative because she's stating that all of these things and what she claims Stephen Twitch boss's spirit told her and all of these things is basing the foundation of her book and really basing her whole argument. And it just doesn't make any sense and it falls on its face. So we're going to do a recap on that and then get into a few of the new things. I tell you, man, this is wild. You really can't make this stuff up. And I mean, hey, it is what it is. So let's kind of get into that. Um it's this is straight up crazy, man. Straight up crazy. Straight up crazy. But anyway, let's get into it. Here's the recap. Let's go.
And I do think he's proud of me. He's told me he is. And he wanted me to do this. And I do think he's proud of me. He's told me he is. And he wanted me to do this. And I do think he's proud of me. He's told me he is. And I do think he's proud of me. He's told me he is. And I do think he's proud of me. He's told me he is. And he wanted me to do this. I was so scared that, is this the right choice? Because I hope people read the messaging of what I really want this to be. And he told me to move forward with it. And I did not tell this medium about this book. I did not tell the medium what was going on. And he told me to move forward with it. And I did not tell this medium about this book. I did not tell the medium what was going on. I didn't tell the medium what was going on. I did not tell the medium what was going on. I didn't tell the medium to try to reach for anything in this kind of department. He just said it to her and through her to me. And it was a moment I'll never forget. And it gave me so much courage that no matter what is said, I know I'm doing the right thing for the right reason. And it was both beautiful and scary.
Yo, I want to say something real quick. I want to backtrack real quick. I want you to look at the interviewer's face when she says this, right? Because her reaction is priceless. Watch this, y'all.
Never forget. And it gave me so much courage that no matter what is said, I know I'm doing the right thing for the right reason.
Yo, look, I mean, oh my gosh, y'all got to see this, man. This is hilarious. All right. Like literally, this is absolutely hilarious to me. Look at her face, man. Look at her face. She looking at Allison Holker like, girl, I don't know what's wrong. You know what? Y'all know where I'm about to go, right?
Girl, I got Allison Holker on my show, and the stuff she telling me, You know, if it wasn't for this check that I'm getting, if Allison didn't pay me, and I want to remain professional, and I like to have other people on my show, girl, the stuff I would be saying right now. But I know, I'm gonna let my face do all the talking.
I'm telling you, man, this is wild, y'all. This is wild. Like, this is wild. Look at her face. You can't make this stuff up. Now, I'm going to run this back, right? Take a look at her face, man. This is crazy. Let me run this thing back for a second because, I mean, seriously, man, let's just run it back, man. Let's go.
Never forget. And it gave me so much courage that no matter what is said, I know I'm doing the right thing for the right reason. And it was both beautiful and scary. Having someone speak him and his words to me directly, right reason. And it was both beautiful and scary. Having someone speak him and his words to me directly. And it was completely unexpected. And it was just something that I needed at that moment. And I think he knew I needed that. And so he came in again into my life and gave me the encouragement and the right and the, not even permission, but just that he saw what I was doing and believed in it as well.
So what I want to do, y'all, I want to switch gears, okay? I want to go back into some things that she believes that he said to her, okay? This is crazy. I mean, let's do this before we get
on the third day after he passed.
Like I said, we're gonna just back up, right? I don't know. I'm gonna back up a little bit. Let's go right here because this whole situation is literally insane, y'all. Let me shout a couple of y'all out real quick. We got Medusa in the building, Sister Iman, Simply Natural Black Life, Eric Melendez, Battle, got Golden also, Corey Bennett, Social Media Currency, Marissa Eldritz, Trina with Sharice. Already shouted you out, Floridian Rollo. We got Arlene Tanner. This is crazy. Shout out to all of y'all and anybody else that's here that's not really showing up in the live chat. But anyway, let's go.
The way he did and where he chose to leave. He didn't want to be too far away from us because he missed us and loved us so much.
So check this out. She's saying he didn't want to be too far away from them, from Allison and the children, because he loved them and he missed them so much. So if he didn't want to be too far away, why was he, quote unquote, apparently walking away or catching an Uber away and mysteriously found at some random hotel? I mean, it just doesn't make any sense. If he wanted to be around, that means he was happy to be around his family. So then why is she going with the narrative? Well, I don't know where my husband is. He walked away or he took an Uber away. Nothing on the cameras, no records. We've been through this. And then mysteriously, he ends up at a hotel where mysteriously he's found unalive. Somebody make this make sense. But anyway, let's go.
But he didn't want to be around us because he loved us so much.
On the third day after he passed, you were cuddling your daughter Zaya, and you say Stephen paid you a visit. Mm-hmm. Your daughter Zaya, and you say Stephen paid you a visit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You know, I've always had dreams since I was young that sometimes come to life. And I've had dreams that become very real. You know, I've always had dreams since I was young that sometimes come to life. Young, that sometimes come to life. And I've had young that sometimes come to life. You know, I've always had dreams since I was young that sometimes come to life. And I've had dreams that become very real. Two of my children named themselves in their dreams to me. I had seen Wesley, and Wesley told me her name was Wesley, well before she was born. And Maddox, I had seen in my dreams, and someone else called him Maddox in my dream.
Okay, so I want to establish something real quick here. All right? Y'all need to understand something. So what I want to establish here, okay, is that Allison Holker definitely is engaging in other spiritual practices. Now, some of you will say, well, what's wrong with that, Brainwaves? Well, we know biblically speaking, the practices that she's engaging in is not right. Okay? This would be considered spell work, witchcraft, divination, all of those new age occultic type practices, right? The practices that we're not supposed to be engaging in. Now, what this also says is that you can't really take her word for it. Because see, people that engage in these practices have a high propensity to lie to their audience or whoever they're speaking to, as well as them being lied to and them being deceived. And what you'll find is that there is some accuracy there. You see, that's how these people get hooked. That's how these people stay, quote unquote, encouraged to delve down this particular line of spiritual practices and faith and religion, whatever you want to call it, right? Because they'll get some accuracy and it's like, see, this was right. See, that was right. And that's how they lure people in. Come on now. I told you a lie is also part truth. You see, when lies are being told, there's part truth, but it's not the full truth. It's not the entire truth. And so what's happening is Allison clearly is showing that she has engaged in these spiritual practices, right? A lot of people in the industry engage in these spiritual practices. I don't care if they wear crosses. I don't care if they talk about they go to church. None of that means anything. Let's all outwardly show things. It's all works. And again, you can't get into heaven through works. It's by grace and mercy, right? We know this. So what I want to establish here is that Allison Holker does not, quote unquote, follow the traditional ways and follow scriptures and follow what the Bible says. So her propensity to be honest is not there because she's very comfortable delving in other spiritual practices. This is why when some people may wonder, well, why would Allison Holker lie about the entire situation? Well, she's clearly not following the Bible, so why would she tell the truth? And you see, I'm giving you all a slice of the pie that other content creators may not give. That's what I do. I talk about the same situations, but I give you a perspective and I give you an angle that others aren't necessarily putting all together. You see, I want to establish Allison Holker's credibility. Well, it's just not so credible. And I want you to hear these things out of her own mouth. Now, I can go back in the past and pull up past things that coincide with this most recent interview that she's done as it relates to the book that she's just released. You see, these things go hand in hand. Okay? And I want to give a thorough breakdown. So let's go back and listen to what she said again. Obviously, she has her kids kind of most likely involved in this. And this is crazy. So anyway, let's run it back. Let's go.
You know, I've always had dreams since I was young that sometimes come to life. And I've had dreams that become very real. Two of my children named themselves in their dreams to me. I had seen Wesley, and Wesley told me her name was Wesley, well before she was born. And Maddox, I had seen in my dreams, and someone else called him Maddox in my dream. But I had seen my children in my dreams well before they were born. So I believe in that. I believe that sometimes you can tap into future or past and present moments that are unfamiliar. Believe in that. I believe that sometimes you can tap into future or past and present moments that are unfamiliar and bizarre. Believe in that. I believe that sometimes you can tap into future or past and present moments that are unfamiliar and bizarre. But if you study it and learn it and accept it, it can come to you. After Stephen had passed, I hadn't slept in about 4 or 5 days, I think it had gone by at this point. And my kids really hadn't either. And Zaya was crying hysterically, and it was supposed to be nap time, but she just could not settle herself. She could not go to sleep. So I went into her room and I laid with her. And she's very, very little, and she's still trying to comprehend what had just happened. And I laid in bed with her, and we both just held each other. And then all of a sudden the room started shaking, and I closed my eyes, but I wasn't asleep yet. And then all of a sudden the room started shaking, and I closed. And then all of a sudden the room started shaking. And then all of a sudden the room started shaking. And then all of a sudden the room started shaking, and then all of a sudden the room started shaking, and I closed my eyes, but I wasn't asleep yet. And everything.
Let me just explain something to y'all real quick, okay? There's a reason why I did what I did. She says all of a sudden the room started shaking. Let me make something clear to you. The room is not just going to start shaking if God or the Most High or Christ or angels or what have you would come to visit you, okay? These are not the reported experiences. When you have rooms shake and you have things like that, we're not talking about earthquakes. We're not talking about natural causes here. We're talking about based upon spiritual practices, spiritual situations. If the room starts shaking, that's a demon. No angel. God's not going to come and start shaking the room. It's not going to be like you see in movies. Okay, it's not all these theatrics and all this extra stuff. I know about dealing with deceased loved ones. Like I said, my sister, my son, and that's just immediate family. Come on now. I didn't even talk about outside of my immediate family. Yes, I got, like grandparents, all of that stuff, but I'm talking about immediate family. So if anyone's familiar with these things, it's me. If anyone's familiar with counseling people who have lost loved ones, it's me. Been there, done that. And let me tell you something. None of them, as well as other people, have had experiences where the room starts shaking. You all have probably seen enough scary movies and read books and heard about situations and played video games where when the room starts shaking, that's something bad coming. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong. The room don't start shaking on these video games and in these movies and these situations when Christ shows up or an angel shows up. Come on now. This is demonic activity. And again, I want to keep establishing this because she's engaged with demons. She's engaged with this type of stuff. So it shouldn't be far-fetched to believe that she could be engaged with what's going on in terms of covering up and or her actually being involved with unaliving Stephen Twitch Boss, because nobody believes that he actually unalived himself. And I want you to see that if this story seems weird and you wonder why these things going on, and you wonder why when people like me talk about sacrificing in the industry, this is a real thing. These are real spiritual practices. Come on now. These are real spiritual practices. Y'all think we just be making this stuff up to make a story? No, this stuff is what people go through. So I want to play that part again so that you can hear when she's talking about her room is shaking. That's not a good thing. That's not a righteous thing. So let's go back to it. This is crazy, man.
I laid in bed with her and we both just held each other. And then all of a sudden the room started shaking and I closed my eyes, but I wasn't asleep yet. And everything started shaking in the room. It started shaking in the room. It started shaking in the room. It started shaking in the room. And there was almost like the static you see on TV behind my eyes. It was like black and white.
Yo. She talking about seeing the static on the TV. Come on now. Didn't I tell you this sound like a scary movie? Y'all know how y'all see the static on the TV? Let me show you something. Hold on. Let me see if I can, yeah, this is like Poltergeist or something. Come on, man, this is crazy. It's like Poltergeist. Let me show y'all all of this stuff, man. This is insane, man. Whatever she's talking about is straight crazy. Okay, I want you to take a look at this. Look at this. Let me show y'all a couple of scary movies that you see static on the screen. Okay, you got Poltergeist. Let me see. Here's another movie that shows static on the screen. Give me 1 second here. Hold on. Okay, we got The Ring. Come on now. This is crazy. Let me see. There's several others. I'm trying to find it by what do you call it? I'm trying to find it by actual movies. I see some like pictures I want to show y'all. Maybe I'll show y'all this one right here. Let's see. Let's look at this one. I just want to show y'all none of this stuff is righteous, okay? Y'all see this, right? None of what I'm showing you on the screen is righteous, is holy, is biblical, is something of the Bible. It's definitely evil. It's scary movies. It's stuff we shouldn't be looking at, right? Because I think this was like an image from like The Ring here. Look at this. Like, you see what I'm saying? Y'all tell me if you think any of these images are righteous. And she's talking about seeing static on the screen and all this stuff. I don't know how many movies it's been like that. There's quite a few movies. I'm trying to see. I don't know. This looks like it's the same picture. I think they even had something like that on what's that thing? Paranormal Activity and stuff like that. But anyway, let me get out of this. Y'all get. Let me go back to her interview. Y'all get the point that I'm making, right? Y'all understand. I gave y'all a few examples of how she's talking about static on the screen. This is evil, man. This is not Stephen Twitch Boss visiting her. Whatever she thinks is Stephen Twitch Boss, that's not him. That's a demon. Let me run this back, man. Y'all gotta understand this. This is literally crazy. Let's go.
And then all of a sudden the room started shaking and I closed my eyes, but I wasn't asleep yet. And everything started shaking in the room. And there was almost like the static you see on TV behind my eyes. It was like black and white static. And I saw 3 faces. And I don't know to this day what those other 2 faces were. White, static. And I saw 3 faces. And I don't know to this day what those other 2 faces were. But it was staticking, white, static. And I saw 3 faces. And I don't know to this day what those other 2 faces were. But it was staticking between 3 different faces. And then at the very end, I held on to one of the faces. And it said, "I'm so sorry. And I love you so much. I'm sorry."
Yo, this is wild. This is wild because here's what she's insinuating. Let me just break something down. Okay, you cannot trust anything that Allison Holker has said in the past based upon what she's saying now as well as going forward. Because let me just break this down spiritually. And I'm giving y'all the simplistic short version. Okay, I could break this down and turn this into an entire show just breaking this aspect down. Either she was visited by demons, or if this was Stephen Twitch Boss, then he quote unquote is in hell based upon this experience, if this experience is true, which means that he can't be trusted if that's who came through. Come on now. Like, either way, this whole situation is absolutely crazy. What's up, Queen B? This is crazy, man. Let's go.
And Stephen's face faded away to one of the faces. And it said, "I'm so sorry. And I love you so much." Faces were. But it was staticking between 3 different faces. And then at the very end, I held on to one of the faces. And it said, "I'm so sorry. And I love you so much. I'm sorry." And Stephen's face faded away. 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 And then we both took a nap. It was the first time I had slept, and I think maybe one of the first times she had slept since everything had happened.
So I want y'all to also understand that since she actually was visited by a demon, visited by a spirit, because let me tell you something. Again, I'm someone who taught these spiritual practices. Y'all got to understand my validity in what I'm saying. I'm not just somebody talking about this. I was an expert. I was at the top of the food chain when it came to the new age, when it came to all that spiritual stuff. And I've since repented years ago. But I'm trying to tell you from experience, I was highly sought after for the things, for my accuracy, for this, for that, etc., etc. Highly sought after. I train other content creators, other spiritualists. So I know how this stuff works. Whatever she got going on, for her to be quote unquote comforted that she was able to sleep after being visited by a demon, that's not good, y'all. That means that she's comforted by demons. Because let me explain something to you. When a loved one comes to visit you, you know what? Let me just say this for people that have had those experiences where a departed loved one, they believe that that person came to say goodbye to them or what have you. That's not how it works. When I say not how it works, the way that Allison Holker is saying that it works. And I really don't want to get into that because that's complicated and that's a subject in itself. And then people are going to start thinking, well, all of that's evil and I don't have time to get into it. But what I can tell you, professionally speaking, that is not the proper way that a deceased loved one would say goodbye to you if you were visiting. So I want you to see, and I want y'all to understand that the fact that she and they are being comforted by a demon or by demons visiting them shows how wicked and how wrong and how off this is. Yeah, Queen Bee knows what I'm talking about. Queen Bee says, I've had them only once. I mean, I've experienced all this stuff. Been there, done that. And again, I don't want to get into that conversation, but I can assure you, Queen Bee, since you said you've had that experience once, do you believe that the way that Allison is talking about, quote unquote, Stephen visiting her, do you believe that that's the righteous way? Do you believe that that is of God? Do you believe that this is actually Stephen visiting her? Or do you believe that this is a demon visiting her? While we wait for Queen Bee to respond in the live chat, we're going to get back to this. Let's go.
And Stephen's face faded away. And then we both took a nap. It was the first time I had slept, and I think maybe one of the first times she had slept since everything had happened. And I woke up and I felt a lot more settled. I wasn't fully healed or anything like that, but I felt settled that he was watching over us and looking out for us.
And do you know and believe with a billion% certainty that was him?
Yes.
Billion% certainty that was him?
Yes. Over us and looking out for us.
And do you know and believe with a billion% certainty that was him?
Yes. Over us.
I want you to look at her facial expression. Look at the interviewer's facial expression. Like, serious, look at Jamie's facial expressions. Do y'all believe that she's believing that Allison actually got... This is crazy, man. This is crazy. Like I said, let me say this. There are ways that deceased loved ones could, quote unquote, come and show up. But what I want to say is the way that she's depicting this, the way that she's saying all of this, and when you put everything together, and when you put how she's talking about him, how she's dragging him through the mud, how she's lying on his name, how we've already gone through this, none of this makes any sense. This is crazy, man. Anyway, let's go. Look, I just want to pause so you can see that Jamie's face. She looking at Allison. This is my opinion, so y'all can take it as y'all want. But Jamie is looking at Allison like, girl, you crazy. But anyway, I got this interview to do, girl. You paid me, so I'm gonna do this interview. Let's go.
Looking out for us.
And do you know and believe with a billion% certainty that was him?
Yes. There's been moments of Stephen visiting both Wesley and I multiple times. Stephen visiting both Wesley and I multiple times. Stephen visiting both Wesley and I multiple times. He still visits us and still talks with us. And you know, there's been times though it's been really beautiful, and then there's times it's been a little scary. But I know we feel him, and when we need him, we go talk to him. And then there's also been, unfortunately, times we've been like, please give us some space. On the flip side of that. And then there's been times that we've been like, I would love to talk with you. I'd love to see you. I'd love to speak with you. But we know that he's watching over our family. I know that Stephen always loved us and always wanted to protect us. And in whatever way, in his mind, he thought he was doing that. And I'll never fully comprehend, and I'll never fully understand that that was his choice. And I don't know if I'll ever fully be able to forgive him, not fully be able to forgive him, fully be able to forgive him, fully be able to forgive him, not for...
So I want to explain something here. The fact that she said she doesn't know if she will be able to fully ever forgive him. Again, she's claiming that Twitch unalived himself. Ain't nobody believing that. You know, the S word. Let's not say it, but y'all know what I mean by the S word. Nobody's buying that. Okay? But here's the thing. Let's just go off of what she's saying. Let's go off of what she's saying. Let's just go with that narrative for a second. So Twitch unalived himself based upon what Allison Holker is saying, right? And she's saying she doesn't know if she'll be able to ever forgive him for that. Once again, this means that she's not practicing any type of biblical, Israelite, Christianity, Quran, Islamic, Muslim. She's not practicing any of the faiths that would essentially say about forgiving someone, right? She's unable to forgive. So if she's unable to forgive, then that means she's harboring some type of resentment. People that are unable to forgive have resentment, they have anger, they have pain, and this has shown and manifested through her words as well as her actions up to this point. She has often said how she's just tired of the situation. She wants to move on. We've got her on an interview like with People Magazine where she said, hey, you know, I'm just like, the situation drives her crazy. It frustrates her. And she wants to essentially move on and have her children move on without really talking about Twitch and going there. But yet here she is talking about Twitch, I guess, obviously, because it's an interview related to her book where she was talking about Twitch. But the point that I'm making is she's obviously harboring anger and resentment. And you can see this through the interaction with the family of Twitch, right? She has that anger and resentment towards the family. She made them sign NDAs. She's upset. Even with the whole Manny footage that we saw, you could clearly hear she's going back and forth with Manny. You can hear what Manny said. I mean, again, all these people right here, we don't even know if we can believe them at all anyway. Well, just based upon the evidence that's been presented. What's up, June? Based upon the evidence that's been presented, it's clear that she does not practice forgiveness. Okay? And what I believe is that is her own demons coming home to roost in the form of Stephen Twitch Boss. This is why the room was shaking, and she believes she saw it on the TV and all of this stuff, because obviously it was an experience she had, because she said her and her daughter that she went to comfort, her youngest daughter, they both saw or quote unquote heard Stephen talk to them or what have you, so that both of them could get some sleep. So this couldn't just be something in her head. Like, this whole thing is just wild and crazy. This is really crazy. But anyway, let's continue.
For me, because I forgave him for me, but for my children, that was the choice he did. But in his heart of hearts, he thought that he made the right choice. And my job now is the parent to the...
So she just literally, she just tripped herself up. Like, what is she saying? She says she doesn't know if she'll ever be able to fully forgive him, but then she says she forgave him for herself. So what is it? Did you forgive him or did you not forgive him? See, these are the type of details that you got to pay attention to, where you see Allison Holker trips herself up in lies. You clearly see her trip herself up. And this is what I want to establish, that she keeps lying. We've caught her in lies in a lot of my previous videos, in a lot of content, and I've talked about this. Other content creators have talked about this, right? Especially Ringo. Watch this again. She says she doesn't know if she'll ever forgive him, but then she says she forgave him. Come on, let's go.
Comprehend, and I'll never fully understand that was his choice. And I don't know if I'll ever fully be able to forgive him, not for me, because I forgave him for me, but for my children, that was the choice he did. Comprehend, and I'll never fully understand that was his choice. And I don't know if I'll ever fully be able to forgive him, not for me, because I forgave him for me, but for my children, that was the choice he did. But in his heart of hearts, he thought that he made the right choice. And my job now as the parent to these beautiful children is for them to know that this is not the way out.
See, this is crazy, man. This is crazy. Yeah, June, you are absolutely right. She is straight projected. And again, look at how Jamie is looking at her. Like, y'all can clearly see Jamie's looking like, girl, man, hey, I got this in. Hey, I got this check, and I got to follow through in this interview. Like, look at her facial expressions. You could tell she looking at her like she's capped. This is crazy, man. Like, I don't think y'all understand, man. This is wild. It's straight up crazy on so many levels. There's something that I want to back up to, and I want to talk about first.
Can you talk about the tree?
This is wild, man. This is wild. Like, and again, if you've seen what was said in the book, this makes it a million times worse. But anyway, let's get back to this part right here. I want y'all to hear this, because this is crazy, man. This is straight up crazy. Let's go.
Can you talk about the tree emoji the night before he died?
Yes. Oh, this will be something I will always be confused about. So
The night before he died.
yes. Oh, this will be something I will always be confused about.
The night before he died.
Yes. Oh, this will be something I will always be confused about.
She's always going to be confused about this. Let's go.
So the night Stephen, he came home. He was very triggered. He was very triggered. Me and Wesley were watching The White Lotus, the show. We loved that show. And he came in and I could tell something was wrong. He had texted me earlier that night a tree emoji, which was his way of telling me he was going to the dispensary. He didn't do it that often though, but if he was going, you know, either he told me, but I was with Wesley, so he probably didn't want to say to me that he was going. So sometimes he would use like a tree emoji or symbolism and text me. But the reason that night it felt different was because the next day when he decided to take his life, he had been at the Oak Tree Inn, and there was a tree that looked just like the emoji, and the dispensary is right across the street. And I've always wondered to myself, was he at the hotel already? Is that why he came home so triggered?
See, let me explain something to y'all. What she's saying right there is a straight up lie. Because she called the police. Oh, sorry, she didn't even call the police. She went down to the police precinct and told the police that her husband's missing. She don't know where he is. She don't know what's going on. First, it was a narrative that he walked. Then it was a narrative that he took an Uber, or either way around. We've been through this a billion times. I got videos. Other people got videos. Where's the license plate? Let's pull the Uber's records. Same thing. He quote unquote checked into a hotel. Where's the hotel records that he checked in? Where's the camera showing that he's checked in? We've been through this. There should be evidence and proof that he was in a hotel if he was going to a hotel. There should be cameras seeing him go to a hotel. This don't make any sense. She's trying to paint this whole narrative that doesn't even match the narrative that she said before. And I want you to see that based upon what she's believing in spiritually, she believes in people, or should I say spiritual beings, aka demons, telling her lies. Whether she's dreaming or she's awake or she's going to psychic mediums and all of these things. She's being deceived. And I don't want to get into the scriptures of breaking down that, but you all can read and you all can understand and put two and two together. I could very well do that right now, but I don't want to take that time for what I'm saying. Her narrative of what she's saying does not make sense. Come on now. Her narrative of what she's saying absolutely does not make sense. Let's run this back one more time to listen to what she says. Okay? Y'all got to understand this. Let's go. Because she's constantly saying, oh, Steven was triggered. Twitch was triggered. Twitch was mad. He was upset. She's always painting this picture as if Twitch had some big problem. But it's her that has the problem. She's the one projecting. We literally have the arrest records. We got the proof that she's been intoxicated in public, that she wasn't invited to events, etc., etc. Twitch wasn't invited to events because they said, are you bringing your wife? Anyway, let's go back to this, man. Listen to this again. She's telling a lie.
He came home. He was very triggered. He was very triggered. Me and Wesley were watching The White Lotus, the show. We loved that show. And he came in and I could tell something was wrong. He had texted me earlier that night a tree emoji, which was his way of telling me he was going to the dispensary. He didn't do it that often though, but if he was going, you know, either he told me, but I was with Wesley, so he probably didn't want to say to me that he was going. So sometimes he would use like a tree emoji or symbolism and text me. But the reason that night it felt different was because the next day when he decided to take his life, he had been at the Oak Tree Inn. And there was a tree that looked just like the emoji. And the dispensary is right across the street. And I've always wondered to myself, was he at the hotel already? Is that why he came home so triggered? Had he attempted and then got scared and then was too shameful to tell me? And I'll never know. But that night was very triggering for me. And it was very obviously triggering for him. But I'll never know. But that emoji will always kind of be a little bit of a scar for me.
This is crazy, man. This is crazy. This is literally crazy. Seriously. Because she's painting this narrative that Twitch was just so upset with her and he was in just such this state. She keeps painting this scenario that he was just so out of his mind and so angry and so frustrated. Okay, if you believe things was like that, you didn't try to get help. If you were thinking that he was going to off himself, unalive himself, right? You didn't try to reach out for help. Like, where's your receipts that you tried to reach out for help? These are little clues that I want y'all to pay attention to. And remember, she said she was unaware of what's going on. But I find it ironic that all of a sudden she's acting like she's aware of every single detail. Y'all got to pay attention, man. This lady keep flip-flopping. This lady keep telling lies. You cannot trust what Allison Holker says. I'm telling you, she keep flip-flopping. We got her on record flip-flopping. She done flip-flop even when this first came out. So why is all of a sudden she got all the understanding of what's going on? She's planning this. She painted this. She wants people to believe that Twitch was some bad person. And again, if y'all want to hear some of the things that she said in her book, y'all could go to Ringo TV Reactions and go watch his live stream that he did. Because he was reading the stuff out of the book. And that stuff that she was saying about him was just straight wicked. That's another layer of wickedness on top of everything that I'm breaking down, showing y'all now. Come on now. She keeps talking that Twitch was so bad. He was using drugs. He's this. He was never in control. Like, it does not make sense based upon everything that everyone says and has said and has shown. And she's the only one going with this narrative. And obviously she's going to push her kids, you know, just like she pushed Wesley to do that interview. And then Wesley took the interview down. So I'm trying to tell y'all, man, this is crazy. I'm gonna play a little bit more here real quick, and then we'll get into it. Let's go.
when you realized he hadn't come home and you were figuring out what to do and how to handle it, you say, I was convinced that he had to be hurt or lost somewhere. I tried to convey to the police what they didn't understand. Stephen's the most loyal, loving husband and father. We had just returned from a lovely anniversary weekend, for God's sake. We're happy.
Y'all hear this? If it was just their anniversary weekend, it was right around Christmas, they were happy. If they were so happy, none of what she's saying makes any sense. See, we've been through this, and this is what I'm trying to tell y'all. She's been lying all along. You can't trust anything she says, any book, any interview, anything she shows. We cannot trust her. It does not make sense if she's saying that they were happy, because in one moment she's saying, well, Twitch was like this and he was upset and he was down and maybe he went here and he went to go get something to drink and da 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 da. That's what she's claiming. But then yet in another breath, she's saying that they were happy. So let me get this straight. You didn't pick up signs with your own husband that he was quote unquote this depressed and this miserable and this angry and this frustrated? You didn't pick up on those signs? You believe that y'all was so happy during that happy time, anniversary time, Christmas time, you know, like the holidays, all of that. It don't make no sense. Telling you, man, let's go, man. This lady be lying. Let's go.
Told them, as a little voice in my head whispered. Somewhere, I tried to convey to the police what they didn't understand. Stephen's the most loyal, loving husband and somewhere, I tried to convey to the police what they didn't understand.
Let me tell you another lie right here. She said she tried to convey to the police what was going on, but they didn't understand. So let's ask the $1 million question. I'm in law enforcement. I work in public safety. I be around, I understand how this works all day, every day. It makes no sense. If the police did not understand how or what's going on, then how come they didn't run an investigation? How come this whole case was just presented as, oh, here we go, that's it, that's the end to it. We're just gonna write this up, tidy this up, put a bow on it, and send this package away. If she's claiming the police didn't understand what was going on, then how come they didn't investigate this situation? Come on now. And the police need to investigate this situation, because you can't believe what this lady's saying. It makes no sense. Let's go, y'all.
Somewhere, I tried to convey to the police what they didn't understand. Somewhere, I tried to convey to the police what they didn't understand. Somewhere, I tried to convey to the police what they didn't understand. Stephen's the most loyal, loving husband and father. We had just returned from a lovely anniversary weekend, for God's sake. We're happy, I told them, as a little voice in my head whispered, right?
Mm-hmm. When I went to the cops the first time, they didn't even they wouldn't even let me in, because I'm not sure what the rules are everywhere, but in LA, you can't report an adult missing shorter than 24 hours. So I had called and tried reporting and it wasn't working. I had ran there because I was like, this is just different. And they wouldn't even open the door to me to report him a missing person.
You know what? The more this woman speaks, the more that this sounds just like straight up cap. She's lying, y'all. The police wouldn't help me. Okay, the police don't understand. They don't do an investigation. Then you're a celebrity. You're trying to report. Like, this whole thing is just wild, man. This whole thing is just wild, man. Let's go. I can't. I just can't with this woman, man.
I just knew something was wrong. I knew this isn't my husband. He doesn't just not come home. He doesn't just like take off and, miss dinner with my kids. He doesn't just do any of that. So I knew something was really, really wrong. And
But then she just said that he was angry. Do y'all see what I'm trying to say? She just got finished saying that he was angry and upset and he didn't want to be around his family. Look, let me run this back, man. Y'all got to listen. This is crazy. She just got finished saying, man. Hold on, y'all. This is like literally crazy. Yeah, listen to this, y'all. Just listen to what she just said.
he came home. He was very triggered. Me and Wesley were watching The White Lotus, the show. We loved that show. And he came in and I could tell something was wrong. He came home. He was very triggered. Me and Wesley were watching The White Lotus, the show. We loved that show. And he came in and I could tell something was wrong. And I could tell something was wrong. And I could tell something was wrong.
So she just said she could tell something was wrong. This is crazy, man. This is absolutely crazy. This is crazy. And then she goes to say this.
Knew this isn't my husband. He doesn't just not come home. He doesn't just like take off and, miss dinner with my kids. He doesn't just do any of that. So I knew something was really, really wrong. And I was convinced he was hurt. I was convinced he'd been in a car wreck or I didn't know. I had no idea, but I was convinced he was in a hospital or he had been wrongfully arrested. But they wouldn't accept me for 24 hours. And then when I finally made the report, now I look back and I'm like, unfortunately, these reports are probably being made, unfortunately, way too often than they should. And so I now know that they were just doing their jobs, but it felt like when they were asking me questions, they were like, he's probably just ran away at a bar with friends, doesn't want to see you, and it just felt like they were shoving this man away, but really, they were doing their jobs and they were doing a really good job. But it just, to me at the moment, felt like you're not doing enough. You're not looking for my man. He's probably hurt and he might die in this moment that we're not looking for him. And it's, to this day, I can never really express to someone trying to navigate how to find someone that you love so much and you don't know where to look. It's very scary. We had so much trust in our relationship that we never had ever had locations on our phones. I had never even looked at his phone. I don't even know what his codes are. I don't know any of his passwords. I don't have a bank account shared with him.
See, let me explain something. She's talking about she never had this and she didn't know where to look, but all of a sudden she believes that Stephen came to communicate her in a spirit and told her to look in this mysterious journal, the quote unquote same journal that he left some writings in the hotel allegedly where he was unalive. Yeah, look at what Hallelujah, all praises to his name, said. I didn't find a weed dispensary across the street from the oak tree. If I'm correct. Am I wrong in the Google search? I mean, I'm gonna put it like this. I don't remember. I just know that when we all did the research, Ringo did the research, I did the research, other people did the research. We did Google Maps, we looked at it, all the stuff that she was claiming, it just didn't make any sense. That couldn't be the case. The tying, the way, the things around the property, like right now, I don't remember because that was what going on 3 years ago, whatever, when it actually happened. So I don't remember all the fine details specifically. Obviously, we could look it up and pull it up, but it just doesn't make sense what she's saying. Him texting a tree and then saying he's there getting weed or getting alcohol, whatever it is. It just doesn't make sense. And he at the hotel and you're not asking for any, like, before he quote unquote went missing, before he quote unquote was unalive, where was her involvement with asking these things? Because as a wife, if you believe that these things are off with your husband, then it's your job to start asking questions. She should have been investigating then. She should have been gathering evidence then if she believes something was off. If this was the case, he could still be alive right now. You don't sit back as a wife and just, if you believe these things are going on with your husband, same thing if you're a husband and your wife is in this situation, you don't just sit back and let these things go on. You get involved. You start finding out. You start asking questions. Because this is a life or death situation. This is crazy, man. Look, here's the address right here if anybody wants to look it up. I could pull it up and put it on the screen. I could do that. Let me look at something real quick. Let me just look at something. I might, let me do this real quick. I might actually do it. I'm gonna pull this up. You can clearly tell this woman is lying and she's trying to make up a narrative and paint this picture like this is absolutely the case. And again, what's more questionable here is with all the questions, all the loopholes, all the not doing anything, you mean to tell me the police just find that his body's gone, he quote unquote unalived himself, and they ain't investigating, ain't looking up, that they just tidied up and wrap this up with all the questions here? And if Allison had all these questions, how come she wasn't asking all these questions before? This is the type of stuff we were talking about back then. How come she wasn't asking these questions back then? Why was she quiet? Why was she content? Why she's like, oh, well, the police they didn't say nothing. They don't want to do nothing. That's the end of it. Come on now. Somebody make this make sense. This is supposed to be this man's wife. We ain't talking about a girlfriend. I mean, a girlfriend should go in the paint too. But this is supposed to be this man's wife. Celebrating their anniversary. They happy. Everything's good. It's around Christmas time. Somebody make this make sense to me. Somebody make this make sense to me, man. Let me look this up real quick. All right, look, y'all. We looking at the actual hold on, y'all. We looking at the actual street thing. And I don't want to get too detailed in this because I've done this before, but we're just looking around at what's here. Okay? This is essentially right here in the area. And I want y'all to see if y'all see any type of, this just don't make no sense. Did we see any type of quote unquote drug places around here? If anything, we see hospitals and all of this. This is crazy, man. This is crazy. We're going to do this. See, the same thing. Okay. We looking at all this. I put it in this oak tree inn. Here it is, right here, 16. What is it? 255. So obviously it's inside of this building, right? I mean, this is just crazy, man. Like, we can go down the street, we can look. I don't see nothing around here, and I know y'all don't either. We see the hospital. This is like a medical area. There's senior helpers, Advanced Pain Institute. Let's go a little further down real quick and just look. We got a modern Persian cuisine place right here. Another restaurant, Emilio's Trattoria. They look like a Benny Honda or something like that. Like, this is a medical area. You can see it's like hospitals and stuff around. There's no alcohol places. There's no drug places. Let's go this way. Let's go past the hotel. Maybe I'm missing something. Maybe we need to go down a little bit. Right? Again, you know, ain't nothing down here. Ain't nothing down this way. What is this right here? Dr. Stephen G. Exler, DDS. And this is a restaurant place right here. It ain't nothing around here like to support what she's claiming. Oh, well, he was there and this was there. I mean, perhaps some of this has changed. Like, I don't live in California. So, I mean, I don't know if any of this has changed or been updated. But for what I'm seeing here, what we seeing here, we not seeing any of this stuff that she's talking about. The UPS store, the massage place, Claudine Artesian Kitchen and Bake Shop right here. That's what this place is right here on the street here. It just don't make any sense. None of this makes any sense. I'm just saying, it don't make any sense. So this crap that she up here talking, man, she's lying. Just look at her face, you could tell she's lying. And we've already gone through this. Like, y'all, we've already done the research. We've already looked at all of this. It's just no way. What this woman is saying is just straight up lies. So let me look at what she's saying here. Let's play a little bit more of this because she's talking about her experience with the cops and all of this. Let's go.
Ever had, I wouldn't even know how to look at anything. Like, that's how much in our relationship was just like, if he told me something, I just believed it. And so when the cops were asking me all these questions, well, have you looked at his phone? Where is he, his locations? Have you looked at his bank accounts? I was like, I don't have access to any of it. And to me, I look at that as being a trust thing. The cops, they were like, why don't you have access to any of that?
Yeah, exactly. As his wife, why is it that you don't have access to anything with Stephen Twitch Boss? And so this is what I'm saying. The cops are already looking at her like, okay, wait, you're supposed to be his wife and you don't have access to any of these things? That raises suspicion. So you mean to tell me the cops didn't investigate any of this? Do you see what I'm saying? Either her narrative is a lie, she's lying about how the cops actually responded or what took place. I mean, either way, she's lying. And based upon her spiritual practices of speaking to demons and dealing with psychic mediums, she's just involved around a bunch of lies. And the way that she dragged Stephen Twitch Boss in that book, she's even lying on his interview. She dragged him in that book, but then on this interview, she tried to make it seem like, oh, I was there for him and everything I said was all loving. It don't make no sense. Come on now, let's go. This is wild, man. Let's go.
And those things kind of trigger you when you're going through those things of like, why? I don't know why I would have those things. I never thought about it before. But really, at the end of the day, the cops were a huge support system to me. And they were really patient with me and kind to me. And they were kind to my children. And I'll always be forever grateful for the way they tried handling that situation with me.
You say you and the kids, you were Stephen's pack, and you believe he disappeared down the road, separating himself from you and the family because he was very, 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 very sick and didn't want to weigh you down.
Oh my gosh, this is crazy. It don't make sense, man. She talking about he's sick. He want to stay away. He don't. Okay, again, how is she going to say that she's so aware that he's this sick? Right? This is her response to everything. Oh, he was sick. He was depressed and all this. But then in previous interviews, like with People Magazine and etc., which we all have documented here on my channel, she's steadily saying she didn't see the signs. She was unaware. She didn't know what's going on. And now all of a sudden she's acting like she knows what's going on. So which one is it? Did you not know what's going on? You didn't see any signs. You was unaware because you was saying all this time, I wish I would have known. I wish I would have known. But here you are in this interview lying one way or the other, saying that you was aware of all of these things. Oh, I was aware that he was so sick and he was going through this and he was going through that. So if you were so aware of all these things, how come you didn't try to get this man professional help? If he was so depressed and he was so struggling and so dealing with this and so angry and so dealing with drugs, how come you didn't try to get this man professional help? How come there are no documents, no records, no nothing of this man trying to get professional help? If he had what you said he had, Allison. Come on, man. You can clearly see this woman is lying. I never believed her from day one. And the longer this goes and the deeper this goes and the more that she's trying to do to make Twitch look bad, the more she wants her children, which is also Twitch's children, to not even see him and think about him. The more I hear her, oh, I want to erase the memory of him. And you was going in hard in the paint. We're always going to dance for Twitch and we're always going to celebrate Twitch. And after you took ownership of his company, you sold the house, so you got the money, the quote unquote estate. You got to where you need to be. You with your new man, Adam Edmonds, whatever his name is. You done replaced your memories at Disney World, not only with yourself and your new man, but with your family. After you did all of that, now all of a sudden you were talking, oh, let's move on, let's forget him. All of a sudden you ain't dancing for Twitch no more. You're not pushing that book for Twitch no more. You got the money, you did all this, and you still making money off his name. You still, quote unquote, if this journal is even true, if this is even a real accurate thing of Stephen Twitch boss, which I don't believe it is, but even if that were true, you still making money off his name. And then you gotta lie and say that because you contacted a psychic medium and the psychic medium told you that Stephen Twitch boss told you to actually put his journal information out. It makes no sense. This is wild, man. Let me do this. Let me just do this real quick. Now she's trying to make a story that he was very, 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 very sick based upon their dog. This is crazy. Yet she's the one with the record. She's the one with the alcohol intoxications. She's the one showing anger. It's all her. But she's trying to say that he's sick with no proof, no pictures, no witnesses, no medical records, no documents, no nothing. It's all her. She's projecting. That's what narcissists do. That's what demons do. You can clearly see that this woman ain't following no like I said, no Christian faith, no Israelite faith, no biblical faith, no Quran faith, no Islamic faith, no Muslim faith. You don't see none of that. Because a lot of the stuff she said and she did goes against a lot of that. Really, all of that. This is wild, man. Let me just play this about the dog real quick. This is crazy.
He was very, 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 very sick and didn't want to weigh you down.
When we lost our dog Crypto, which was Steven's like best friend, it was a few years ago. And I remember the vet telling Steven, and he came home and conveyed the message to me. Our dog Crypto had a couple of times tried leaving our home and disappearing. And it's because our dog was very sick. And what the vet had told us was that when animals feel sick that run in a pack, they don't want their loved ones to get sick with what they have. So they choose to leave and pass away with not taking any harm to their own family. And I remember that really sat really deep with me and Steven, that like Crypto left our home, not because he didn't want to be with us, but because he was almost trying to protect us. And that moment came back to me when Steven passed away the way he did, and where he chose to leave. He didn't want to be too far away from us because he missed us and loved us so much. But he...
Again, this does not make any sense. She keeps saying he missed them so much. He loved them so much. So if he misses them and loves them so much to the point where he will always come home, he will always be there, what she's claiming, him running away, him being angry, him being upset, that's out of character. That does not make any sense. A man that loves his wife, a man that loves his children, he gonna be there. He trying to see them every opportunity he get. It just does not make sense for her to say, well, he loves me so much and this and that. Okay, he would want to be around. This is wild, man. Like, I can't with this woman. I just can't. I might have to just do a part 3. Yeah, Lori is actually right. So pretentious. Lori is absolutely right. I just can't, man. Like, this is wild. It's like, where my married folks at? Y'all will understand exactly what I'm saying. I'm married, so I know what this stuff is like. This woman here, I'm telling you, y'all, man, she is wicked. She is wicked. This is some dirty work. And for those of you that did not hear what's in the book, Ringo TV Reactions just did his latest video. I'll pull it up. And he talked about what was in the book. And man, the stuff that was in the book is bad. It's bad. Like, it's bad. Yes, it's this video right here. Let me share it with y'all so y'all can see. Ringo just did a video. It's this particular video right here where you can see him holding the book. He read a lot of the contents from this book, and the stuff that she was saying and doing, man, it just adds on to the level of wickedness on top of everything that she's saying and doing right here. Like, this is crazy. Compare him to a dog, like y'all said. This is crazy, man. This is crazy. Hey, I think I'm just gonna stop right here because it's too much. I may do a part 3 to this, and we'll get into a couple other specifics. But this is wild. I may even have to play parts of this interview as well as parts of what Ringo said about what she said in her book. Like, y'all, if y'all didn't hear what Ringo said, he literally read what the contents of her book says. So you don't have to spend the money and go buy the book to figure out what it is. It's bad. It's straight up bad. So I think I'm gonna stop here. Yeah, Rollo's right. She is off the rocker. She is off her rockers. Dee Free is right. Allison makes Jezebel look like a Girl Scout. That's bad, man. Like, this is crazy. I can't with this woman. So look, y'all. I'm about to get out of here. If you didn't see my part 1, you definitely need to take a look at it, because it goes into different detail and it preps certain things up to this point. This woman cannot be trusted. Like, let me just make this clear. The way that Allison Holker has handled the entire marriage, through his passing, the funeral, like everything, this would be like a nightmare of mine if my wife did something like this. Like, this would be a nightmare to any man if they behave this way as a wife and he passed. Like, this is as dirty as it gets. This is wild, man. I'm telling you, this is literally as bad as it gets. So y'all, I appreciate y'all rocking with me. I appreciate y'all listening and being a part of this show and my platform. I really do, man. Shout out to all of y'all. But I'm about to call it quits right now, because I just can't. I can't with this woman. It's only so much I can take of hearing her lie and knowing how wicked she is and what she's doing. Like, I can't, man. I just can't. Can't do it. So I may do a part 3 to this. Let me check something out real quick first before I go. Let me just be sure, because sometimes, you got to check and be sure, and you got to see certain things. She didn't post anything new on her IG. We're looking at her IG right now. She didn't post anything new on here. This is crazy, man. Anyway, man, this is wild. This is straight up wild. So, hey, I appreciate y'all watching and listening. I'm about to get out of here. Rollo, to all of y'all here, Floridian Rollo says he's going to be on in about 30 minutes, so y'all can subscribe and sub him up. I got to go holler at my family. I got to take care of a couple of things as well. I'll see y'all over there. I'll try to pop in there, be on there as much as I can. And I'll catch y'all there, and I'll catch y'all on the next one. I'll probably do a part 3 to this. This is, I can't with this lady. This is wild. But anyway, she probably thinks that based upon her doing and releasing her book, as well as this interview, that she's got all bases covered, that she's good, that she can sweep this whole Stephen Twitch boss scenario under the rug, that everybody's going to see him in a negative light and be like, oh, he had issues, he was depressed, and he was angry, and he's an alcoholic, and all this craziness. We ain't believing none of that. We not believing none of that, lady. You got to try harder than that. Shout out to Floridian Rollo for the $5 super chat. I really do appreciate that. He said, I did a great breakdown. I really do appreciate that. I'm running on fumes. If y'all may not know, just because y'all don't see me, quote unquote, nodding off, don't mean I ain't tired. It's a lot of business I've been handling, a lot of stuff I've been taking care of. Your boy's tired. I still, look, let me show you. I ain't even really been getting my exercise in like I should. But let me just show you where I'm at right now, just so y'all can see. right? And I still got plenty of time. Got 14,503 steps. That's 7 miles. And I still got plenty more to go. So I have my reasons for being tired, but nonetheless, I got the content out to y'all, right? That's all y'all care about, right? Y'all be like, Brainwaves, I don't care if you're tired. Just get this content. Get this content out to me. That's why you're a content creator. I don't care what you're tired. Whatever you got to do, just get on here and get this content out to me. All jokes aside, though, I appreciate each and one of you. I'm about to get out of here. I'll see y'all in less than 30 minutes on Floridian Rollo's channel. And with that being said, I'll most likely do a part 3 to this. And that probably will be it in terms of covering her interview. It's not going to be it with covering this whole story, this whole case, her interview. So with that being said, unless I need to refer to it for something else, part 3 most likely will be it. But hey, I'll catch y'all when I do that, most likely tomorrow. And I will see y'all on Floridian Rollo's platform in a few minutes. Y'all know y'all can sub them up if you haven't. You'll see me there. You'll understand why I'm there, why we rock with each other, et cetera, et cetera. So let me get out of here. Let me holler at my family. About to get my grub on. And I'll see y'all on Rollo's platform. All right. Peace and blessings to all of y'all. I'm gonna holler at y'all the next one. I'm out.